and welcome to another bookish video from me, Johanna, me, my dog and books. Today I'm coming at you with book recommendations for books about books that perhaps nobody asked for, but I do love a book that is about books. Friends, I am covering pretty much all genres. Apart from sci-fi, I think, in this mix, there is even a romance book, which I gave 5 stars to. Who even am I? There's also dark, twisty ones, historical fiction, and non-fiction, and thrillers. So, grab yourself a cuppa, a notepad and pen, or your notes app, and let's get stuck in. These are in no particular order other than the ones I noted them down on. There are all the books I've read and then 2 at the end that I really want to read. One's non-fiction and one seems like a dark twisty thriller that sounds really good. First up is the Dictionary of Lost Words, which is by Pip Williams. I read this for book group, my in real life book group, maybe a couple of years ago, and this one is set, it's historical fiction, loosely based on actual events. It's set during the creation of the Oxford English Dictionary, and we follow Esme, who is motherless daughter of one of the lexicographers who was involved in the creation of the dictionary. But she chooses to go around collecting words that have been excluded, especially words about women and everyday life. And because of the subject matter, it's just an absolutely delightful book. It's a lovely historical fiction. It's very poignant, and Esme is just a wonderful character to read. Then there's a book that is non-fiction, but of a very similar storyline, and it's called The Dictionary People, the unsung heroes who created the Oxford English Dictionary by Sarah Ogilvie. I read this one, I think, last year, and this is great non-fiction. It's one you can easily dip in and out of, because I think it goes through all the letters of the alphabet, from what I remember. But it's fundamentally a big celebration of all the volunteers that helped pull together the Oxford English Dictionary. But not just like lexicographers and highbrow men, no. It included the likes of 3 murderers, the daughter of Karl Marx, a collector of pornography, a radical suffragette, and a woman who is an anti-slavery activist, and many, many more. So that just gives you an insight into all the really unusual and unexpected creators of the Oxford English Dictionary. Then I've got another, contemporary fiction. This I also read for book group in, I think, not long after it came out in paperback. It's The Midnight Library by Matt Haig. I am a Matt Haig fan. I love both these non-fiction and fiction books. I've still to read his latest one. This one's out in paperback. It's been out for a number of years. I think it's maybe been shortlisted for a few awards. Anywho's, that doesn't matter. It's a story about a main character called Nora, and she kind of finds herself in a magical library that is between life and death, where she gets to explore a whole range of books that show her an alternative look at the life she could have had. So by, through different relationships or decisions. And as she explores through this library, she starts to ask herself sort of big questions about like regret, choice, and what really makes life worth living. It's such a poignant read. I would say check the content warnings. And I would say Nora is a beautiful character. She reminds me of characters like the main character in Eleanor Oliphant is completely fine. So she reminds me a bit of that kind of character. She's going through a lot of struggles, but there's definitely points when I think everybody at some point can relate to where Nora is at in respect of different parts of her life or elements that you could relate to. And really puts the question, is the grass always greener? So that is a delightful book and a very poignant read. Then we have another. Someone asked I asked you guys for any sort of video ideas and stuff in the comments. And one of you had mentioned about like going through some of the books that I've read in my in real life book club, which since it's been going for 21 years would be a lot of books, but this sounds like a bit of a challenge. But in saying that, there are so many books in here, unsurprisingly, because it's books about books that we've read for book group. So far, the Dictionary of Lost Words was one. Sorry, I've got my notes because I don't have a photographic memory. The Midnight Library was one, and this one also, which we read in, when did I read it? Years ago, like before the movie came out. So I can't even remember when that was. But it's the book Faith by Marcus Zusak, and this is set in Nazi Germany, and it follows a young girl called Liesel who goes around stealing books and sharing them because it's something she finds solace in, as the whole sort of world around her is falling into chaos. And very unusually, the story is narrated by Death, and through this story explores the themes of love, loss, and the power of words. I know there's obviously been a film adaptation many years ago. I've never watched it, and the reason I've never watched it is because I loved the book so much I was like a wee bit scared to watch it. So if anyone has and they thought it was, let me know in the comments. Then another book which I recommended one time at book group as one of our reads is The Diary of a Bookseller by Shaun. This is non-fiction, and it is actually a diary of a bookseller because Shaun runs the second-hand bookstore. Is it called Scotland's or the world's, maybe Scotland's largest second-hand bookstore, which is in Wigtown in Scotland. And this is written in diary format, and it's like a charming, witty account of what it's like to be a bookseller in a second-hand bookstore. From eccentric customers to the ups and downs of the book trade, and a humorous take on the love and hate of effectively just running a bookstore. I love this. There is another one. Is it another diary of a book? Because there's quite a few have came out. I've got the second one, I haven't read that, but I loved the first one. And you get to know like customers and characters in the book, and also like how the whole second-hand bookshop process works. So highly recommend it. Well, obviously all of these books I'm recommending. Hence around my book recommendations. The next is also one of the books we've read for book group, and we read this in 2013. I think there's a couple of books that follow on from this. Don't come for me right now on what they are because my memory is failing me, but it's called The Shadow of the Wind by Carlos Ruiz Zafón. So this book is set in post-war Barcelona, and it follows the story of a young boy called Daniel who discovers a mysterious book in the cemetery of forgotten books. And he goes on a quest to uncover the fate of the mysterious author of said book. And so then becomes completely entangled in a dark tale of love, revenge, and literary obsession. I was looking back at my review on this. I gave it 4 or 5 stars. It's so beautifully written. The setting is amazing. It's both atmospheric and mysterious, and it has a bit of a like haunting gothic feel. In complete contrast to that is the book called The Storied Life of A.J. Fickery. Now, this book I also read for book group in 2014, and it's written by Gabrielle Zevin. Now, if you recognise that name, that's because it's the same author who wrote Tomorrow, 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 which is a book that gets a lot of hype. I enjoyed, did not love, but I absolutely adored this book, A.J. Fickery book. I would say it is completely different to Tomorrow, Tomorrow, Tomorrow. So I'll give you a summary and why I loved it, and then you can make your own decisions on whether you want to pick it up as a book. Firstly, I say this is a very light and whimsical read, and when you're reading it, maybe suspend belief a little bit and just go with the story. So for anyone that loves a story about a grumpy old man, this one's for you. We follow a grumpy widowed bookseller called AJ Fickery, whose life is transformed when a young child is just left in his shop. Don't question any of all of that. It's very whimsical and light-hearted. Through unexpected connections and the healing power of books, AJ Fikry discovers the joy of love and a second chance at life. This is just, if you want a little feel-good book where it's magically whimsical and you don't question how things came about, this is for you. In complete contrast, there is Yellowface by RF Kuang. If you're looking for a dark, twisty, satirical thriller, this is it. I love this book so much. It gets a lot of hype. I agree with the hype. So this story follows a struggling writer who steals her late friend's manuscript to pass it off as her own. That's not a spoiler. Her friend dies very early on in the book in a really weird incident, but anywho's. So as this writer's story starts to unravel, the book cleverly deals with racism, privilege, and the very dark side of publishing industry. This book is compulsive, gripping reading. It had absolute meta-ness. It dealt with culture wars online, and it just was layered in so many ways that I absolutely adored. If you like RF Kuang, it's not like Babel at all. It felt like, it is a completely different genre, but chef's kisses, loved it. Then I have got another, I would say it's historical, but it's non-fiction. It's 84 Char Crossroad by Helene Hanff. This is a book I think I also read for book group many years ago. It's a delightful collection of real life letters that Helene Hanff exchanged with a London bookseller for over 2 decades. And it's just, it's quite short actually, and it's just a charming little story about friendship, books, the love of books, sharing the love of books, and a connection that can cross thousands of miles. And then in a similar, I'll say it's sort of a similar ilk. It's historical fiction, it's not non-fiction, but it's another book that's written in letter format, and that is the Gernzi Literary Potato Peel Society by Mary Ann Schaffer. And this is set in Gernzi post Second World War, or it's just at the very end of, because the Germans are still occupying Gernzi. And we follow a writer, Julia, who's looking for her next subject, book subject, and she receives a letter for someone, I don't think it's someone she's met, and this gets her connected with a little quirky book group on Gernzi who kind of became an accidental book group because they had to really quickly create an alibi for why they were outside during after the German curfew in Gernzi. So they made up a book club. This is a lovely story, again told through letters, about friendship, love, a sense of belonging, and the power of books and book groups and how they connect us. Just going through these books is making me remember how much I love books about books. Now, the next one, Do Not Be a Shookif. It's a romance. It's a rom-com. And it's a rom-com I gave 5 stars to. It's Beach Read by Emily Henry. Yes. Yes. I would absolutely reread this. So, in this book, we follow 2 authors. One writes literary fiction and the other one writes romance. And as a challenge, they decide to swap genres for the summer. So one will write the romance, the other one will write lit fic. And as they do, I can't remember where this is set. One of them's in a, they say it's beach read, but they're set next to a beach somehow in 2 little houses, or in the same house. I can't even remember. But as they embark on the challenge, love starts to sparkle, feelings are unearthed, But in saying that, like, I'm not into mega gooey romance, and there's a lot of sarcastic banter, which I absolutely love. You've got male vibes, if you like that kind of romance, which is probably as much romance as I can deal with. And it's just delightful. I loved it and would highly recommend it. I have tried apart from Happy Place, all of the other Emily Henry books after this and did not love. But again, that says more about me maybe than the books. And then from romance, getting back into my dark mystery thrillers, we have Death of Bookseller by Alice Slater. This is so good. We follow two very different women who come together over their shared love of true crime. Obsession grows and boundaries start to blur, and their connection kind of spirals into something a little bit dangerous. We have two dark, very very insufferable characters. You know how when you get those characters where you're like, oh man, I dislike, but sometimes you kind of like that? These are these characters. So they're kind of compulsively intriguing and messy. The story is told through different points of view, so each chapter is each of the characters' POVs, and it's set in a bookstore. So what else can you ask for? It is gripping and dark. So there you have it, my friends. My book recommendations of books about books. But I still have two books I wanted to mention to you, because they're two books that one I have out from the library and the other one I think I might have on my Kindle that I really, really want to read. The first one is a thriller called The Last Word by Taylor Adams. And this is a book about a woman who leaves a scathing 1-star review on a horror book. I mean, I could relate, and this makes us even more terrifying. But what happens is, according to the synopsis, because I've not read it, said reviewer finds herself targeted by the unhinged author. And it's like a cat and mouse thriller, because I think she's trapped in a remote house and she must fight to survive as fiction turns into terrifying real life. How good does that sound? If you've read this, but I'm sure I've read a few of Taylor Adams' books, great thrillers. I'm sure No Exit was one, I can't even remember, but this sounds right up my street. The synopsis sounds like chef's kisses. And then the other one is this one I've got out from the library. It's called Read Yourself Happy, How to Use Books to Ease Your Anxiety by Daisy Buchanan. So this is deemed a warm and encouraging guide to using books as self-care and joy. And apparently it blends a nice mix of like personal stories and book recommendations, and is deemed a love letter to reading and how it helps us feel a bit more calm, connected and understood. So I think this might be due back next month, or I was going to say overdue, but I have renewed it online. Phew. And I'm the first person to get out, so another book, non-fiction, this one, about reading and books. So there you go, my friends. I'll have a quick sip of my tea before it gets cold, because I've been chatting at you for so long. Those are my books about books. If you have any other recommendations about books of any genre, let me know in the comments so that A, I can add them to my wish list, and B, anyone else watching can get some more recommendations. That would be amazing. If you would like any more book recommendation videos, let me know in the comments, and also like what kind of book recommendations you would like. I've done horror book recs and I've done thriller book recs, so I'll try and link them in the description below. There'll also be, find them in my book recommendations playlist as well. But before I sign off for the day, I will have to show you the pups. There is Lippy Lou lounging in the comfiest beanbag position, and Patty Cakes, who they've both been outside but got all hot dog and came indoors. Haven't you, kids? I mean, she's not even opened her eyes. Absolutely out for a count. I hope you enjoyed watching this video, and if you did and you don't know what to say, please leave a book emoji in the comments. And I'd like to say thank you as always for liking, for commenting. If you don't already, please do subscribe. And I look forward to seeing you in the comments, chatting with you in the comments. And until then, I will oh, someone wants to say goodbye. You're coming to say hello and goodbye, Patty. Patty, Patty, Patty. It's been a wee while since you came up and said hello to everyone. Anyway, what was I saying? Yes. Thank you for your likes, comments, and if you subscribe, thank you very much. And if you don't already, please do if you want to see more of this little Muppet. And not me, that's fine. And I will see you and maybe Patty Cakes and Lucy Lou will see you in another Bookish video very, very soon. Cheerio!